Does it feel like the finish line keeps moving? You save for 2 years, but house prices jump 20%. You work overtime, yet you're still stuck paying off someone else's mortgage while your own dreams of a family are put on hold. It's exhausting, isn't it? You feel like you're running on a treadmill that's set too fast. But here is the truth they won't tell you on the news. You aren't failing. You are being robbed. This housing market isn't broken. It is working exactly as designed. But to see how the trap was set, we have to go back to the days when a single salary could actually buy a home. So, when exactly did the game change from fair play to rigged? Let's rewind to the 1970s. This isn't just nostalgia, it is statistical proof that the system used to work. Imagine your father or grandfather in 1975. He likely had a high school diploma, maybe a steady job at a local factory or office. That single income didn't just pay the bills, it bought a house, a car, supported a family of 4, and still left room for savings. Here is the math that will make you cry. In 1970, the median home price in America was around $23,000. The median household income was about $9,000. That is a price-to-income ratio of just 2.5. Today, in major cities, that ratio has exploded to 8, 10, or even 12 times your annual salary. Back then, a house was boring. It was simply shelter. It was a place to eat dinner, sleep, and watch your kids grow up. It wasn't a portfolio asset. It wasn't a retirement plan. And it certainly wasn't a speculative chip for global hedge funds. Housing was treated as a utility, like water or electricity, essential, affordable, and available. Because homes were for living, not leveraging, prices stayed tethered to reality. Banks were local. Loans were boring. The economy was built on making things, not trading debt. But somewhere along the line, the script was rewritten. The powers that be realized that stable, affordable housing was great for citizens but terrible for profits. They realized that a house shouldn't just be a home, it should be a financial instrument. But here is the dark truth. This paradise wasn't lost by accident. We didn't run out of land, and bricks didn't suddenly become as rare as diamonds. The affordability you lost was stolen. The ladder wasn't pulled up by the invisible hand of the market. It was dismantled bolt by bolt by a specific set of policies designed to prioritize asset values over human needs. And the first domino fell when they decided to change the fundamental rules of money itself. The moment the American dream flatlined can be traced back to the wreckage of 2008. We all know the story. The housing bubble burst, banks collapsed, and the global economy froze. But what happened after is the part they don't teach you in school. To save the banks, the Federal Reserve slashed interest rates to nearly zero and printed trillions of dollars. This was called quantitative easing. The theory was that this free money would trickle down to you, creating jobs and stability. It didn't. It flooded upwards. When money is free, the people who already have assets win big. Wall Street suddenly had access to virtually unlimited capital at almost zero cost. And with bond yields crashing, they needed a new place to park that cash to get a return. They looked around and saw millions of foreclosed homes selling for pennies on the dollar. For the first time in history, mega corporations entered the single-family home market on an industrial scale. Before 2010, if you were buying a house in the suburbs, you were competing against Dave and Sarah from down the street. Maybe they could offer $5,000 more than you. It was a fair fight. Today, you are stepping into the ring against Blackstone, Invitation Homes, and frantic pension funds. You are competing against an algorithm that can make an all-cash offer sight unseen in 3 milliseconds. They don't need a mortgage, they don't need a home inspection, and they certainly don't care if the roof leaks. By 2025, institutional investors have bought up massive percentages of starter homes in key markets. Atlanta, Phoenix, Tampa. They aren't flipping these houses, they are holding them forever. Why? Because they realize that if they control the supply, they control the rent. They turn the housing market into a subscription service. They call it build to rent, but a better name is serfdom as a service. They drove prices up so high that you were forced to rent the very house you could have bought 10 years ago. And who do you pay rent to? The same fund that outbid you. Then came the final nail in the coffin, the post-pandemic inflation. When inflation hit, the Fed panic hiked interest rates. Now you are hit from both sides. House prices are historically high because of the corporate hoarding, and mortgage rates are high because of the Fed's reaction. It is a mathematical pincer move. You are trapped between an asset bubble and a debt crisis. The latter isn't just broken, it's been burned for firewood. But while the math is horrifying, high interest rates and corporate greed are just the mechanics of the trap. They are just the bars on the cell window. The real reason you are still running this race, destroying your mental health for a prize that no longer exists, isn't because of economics. It's because of a psychological weapon they've been using against you since kindergarten. The most effective prison is the one you don't see. The housing crisis isn't just an economic failure. It is a psychological treadmill designed to keep you productive, obedient, and desperate. Think about it. Why are you working those 60-hour weeks? Why do you tolerate a toxic boss? Why do you take on that side hustle that ruins your weekends? It's because you are chasing the down payment. The system dangles the keys to a house in front of you like a mechanical rabbit at a dog track. It stays just out of reach. When you get a 5% raise, they raise the market price by 10%. When you finally save $50,000, they tell you the closing cost just went up. This isn't an accident. This is the wealth extraction loop. Here is how the loop works. Because you can't buy, you must rent. Because you rent, you pay 40% of your income to a landlord, often a corporation. Because you lose that 40%, you can't save for a down payment. Because you can't save, you can't buy. And the cycle repeats until you die. It is a perfect closed loop, and the psychological toll is devastating. Society has conditioned us to believe that homeownership equals adulthood. If you are 35 and renting an apartment, the culture whispers that you have failed. It tells you that you are throwing money away, even though the math says buying is currently a worse deal in many cities. This shame is the fuel that keeps the machine running. It keeps you desperate. And desperate people make excellent employees. They don't quit. They don't strike. They don't take risks. They keep their heads down and grind, terrified that if they miss one paycheck, the dream of a home disappears forever. We are no longer citizens building communities. We are batteries powering a real estate asset bubble. The house has become a casino where the dealer, the banks, the funds, the government has rigged the table. They are playing with loaded dice, and they are counting on you to keep betting your life savings on a game you cannot mathematically win. But if the game is rigged, why are we still playing? We play because we don't think there is another choice. We play because we are scared. But realizing the table is tilted is the first step to leaving the casino. So, where does this leave us? Are we doomed to be a generation of permanent tenants, creating wealth for shareholders while we sleep in bedrooms we don't own? Or is there a way to hack the system, or perhaps simply walk away from it? The answer isn't what you want to hear, but it is what you need to know. So, here is the bitter truth. The white picket fence dream of 1975 is dead. It wasn't just killed by inflation, it was euthanized by a system that prioritizes asset bubbles over your well-being. If you are sitting on the sidelines waiting for a crash like 2008 so you can swoop in and buy cheap, wake up. BlackRock is waiting for that crash too, and they have more cash than you. If prices drop, they will buy the dip before you can even refresh Zillow. The government isn't coming to save you. They need home prices to stay high to keep the economy looking healthy and to keep baby boomers' retirement accounts funded. You are the collateral damage in their balance sheet. So, what do? First, stop playing their game by their rules. Stop measuring your self-worth by the deed to a house. If renting gives you the freedom to move, to invest in other assets, or to simply sleep at night without drowning in debt, then rent. There is no shame in opting out of a rigged casino. Second, understand that in 2025, a house is a luxury good, not a basic right. If you want it, you have to fight for it differently. You might need to leave the big cities. You might need to buy with friends. You might need to redefine what home looks like. The system wants you desperate, It wants you to sign a 30-year contract that eats 50% of your income so you remain a compliant worker bee. The ultimate rebellion isn't owning a home. It's financial independence. Whether that happens with a mortgage or a lease is just a math problem, not a moral one. Don't let them guilt trip you into poverty. But I want to hear from you. Look at the numbers in your area. Do you think the American dream is just on life support, or is it already dead and buried? And be honest. Are you still trying to buy, or have you decided to walk away from the market entirely? Let me know in the comments below. And if you want to understand how the education system is running a similar scam on your future, click this video right here. You won't believe how deep that rabbit hole goes. See you there.